Hi, I'm Jennifer Hollick with Ancestral Souls and the World War II Research and Writing Center. This morning, I would like to take you on a short guided meditation to help you ground, and then I have an exercise I invite you to do. We are in a time of immense change on the planet, and everybody is being called to start to look at the things that trigger them, the things that bother them, and all of the things that we seem to be arguing with people and fighting over just to be right. And we really don't need to do that. If we just go within and start looking at what's triggering us and what the lesson might be, we can change it very quickly, most of the time. Sometimes it does require a bit more work, and sometimes working with an intuitive or energy healer like myself to help you move that out. So first, let's ground our energy before I get into the exercise. So take a deep seat, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. And then imagine that we are out in the middle of a forest near a gentle river. And you can hear the birds singing, and you can hear the water flowing, hitting the rocks. You hear the leaves rustling, maybe the animals moving through the ground. And as you sit there, imagine a pillar of light coming down from God or Source or whatever you believe, coming down through your crown, all the way down your chakra system to the root at the base of your tailbone. And this gorgeous healing light is filling you with unconditional love and healing. And it's pushing out everything that no longer serves you. And as we allow this light to come down and source us, we can also picture a grounding cord that looks somewhat like a light belt. It could be white, could be any other color that resonates with you today. And that sits around your hips, your low belly, your low back, and it extends all the way down deep into the Mother Earth and connects with the heart chakra of Mother Earth. And once it's done that, it pulls energy also up through the earth, coming all the way up to your feet, up through your knees, your hips, your belly, your heart, your throat, all the way out through your crown, and showers around you. You can also picture that pillar of light as it's coming down through your crown and sourcing you down into the root chakra, then coming back out and removing things you don't need and kind of creating a loop all the way up. And the same with your grounding cord. So you're sourced from above and below. We can also picture a white bubble of healing protective light around us. And then a bubble of violet flame that will transmute everything that we're ready to let go of, all of the negative, just goes into that violet flame and disappears. And then we can call in the archangels or your ascended masters, your guides, galactic helpers, God, Mother Mary, whoever resonates with you that you work with, you can call them to be with you outside of your protective bubble to help you, ground you, source you, give you some nudges or inspiration to help you clear out the things that are ready to go, and also to work with the exercise that I'm about to give you. And when you feel grounded and sourced, protected, held, you can open your eyes. that is variation on a lot of different grounding meditations that I do, that I work with every day, that I use before bed just to clear my energy. Some people prefer to not use pillar of light, but just put the protective shield around them. I like to use the pillar of light so that I'm sourced, so that as I'm giving out the front of my chakra system, I'm also being replenished from the back, so that I don't totally disrupt my energy system and it stays pretty steady. So, and with the grounding cord, it also allows me to feel more connected to the earth and have the energy rotating always. So, my invitation to you today is to do an exercise. And you can do this on your computer, you can sit with a friend and talk, you can get your journal out, whatever works for you. But I think with all of these changes that are happening on the planet and all of these things that are coming up for each of us, that we're starting to look at and figure out how can we let go of them, how can we heal them for ourselves, our ancestors, the collective, how can we do this in different ways? Because what works for one person doesn't always work for somebody else. So yesterday, a little background, I had my weekly check-in with my intuitive healer training program assistant, and we talked about some of the things that I'm aware of, that I'm shifting out. We talked about my military career and the work that I've done and the deep layers of things that I've exposed, things that have triggered people, things that were hidden from Americans after the Second World War and the First World War, really, and things that people believe because the myth keeps expanding about, the guys in particular that died overseas and what happened and whether they were able to come home or not come home and why. And my assistant said, you've really kind of encapsulated in this one career and the work you've done, a lot of issues that you have been working out. And I thought, yeah, that's true. I can see that. But this morning it really kind of hit home as I was thinking about the widow of my flying tiger who I spoke to last night on the phone and some other people that have been very important in my life. And I actually made a list of things that on some level I have been aware of, that my career has helped create. And if you've heard me talk about the beginning of it, or my great-grandfather Joseph, who came in as my guide when I got divorced and was with me until about 2017, you've heard me say he basically told me that I had to start writing these hard stories, that I had to cry, that I had to feel the pain, that I had to help the clients do the research, feel their pain, as a way for me to heal myself and 40 years of repressed emotions. So it was that or, do something illegal, I guess. How do people clear their stuff? So I chose the writing path, the teaching path, the hard, emotional, military research path. And when I sat with that this morning, I realized that all the things that I've talked about, all the articles I've written, all the stories I've shared as I taught, had a lot of themes that have been very important for me, that I must have in my soul contract to work out and heal for myself and my lineage in this life, which also contributes to the collective. So many different themes that are important for all of us. So what are they? Well, there's the fear of death, or what does death really mean, or fear in general. With that, there's also grief and loss. Money is tied into that because I wrote an article in 2017 about the boys that couldn't be repatriated because the family didn't have the money to bury them in a private cemetery. And one Dutchman who works for ABMC got really upset with me about that because he's like, these cemeteries are the highest place of honor for them and everybody is grateful to be here. Well, no. Most of my family from both world wars were repatriated because the family thought that in Chicago was the highest place of honor for them to be buried. And not everybody could afford to bury their son or husband in a non-veteran cemetery after World War II. And I exposed that and talked about it. And a lot of people didn't like it. But that was the reality back then. So some boys were left overseas because of the financial situation their family was in. I've exposed a lot of different themes like that, which again, a lot of people are afraid to look at because it triggers something in them that they're not yet ready to look at. We also have the themes of DNA and inherited trauma. What passes down through us? How does that affect us? And I can do several other videos about how my family's military history has affected me, how I've lived some of their lives, how I've walked with my cousin James through Europe to let him see through me to heal what he needed to heal before he was ready to be sent to the light. We have issues like separation, which is a huge one this year. I mean, if you followed me for any length of time, you know I married a Dutch guy who lives in Amsterdam. Well, next to it. I haven't seen him since March. I may not see him till next year because of all the world games that are being played. So separation is a huge, huge thing. And I think had I not been living this separated life back and forth for the last 4 years and not done so much military research and had to almost feel, because I'm an empath and a medium, what these women went through when their husbands and sons went to war, they didn't know what was happening. They didn't have instant communication like we do now. So I'm lucky in that way. But in some ways, going through that, through my military work, I healed things, understood things better, which has made going through this year a whole lot easier than it could have been, because I was willing to do the work before. And I'm willing to do the work of the things that come up now, because I do get very angry sometimes that all these games are being played. I know there's a higher purpose, but still sometimes makes me angry that I can't go over and see him. And he doesn't travel here anymore. So it is what it is. How we process, how we heal, those things have come up for me because I've also had to help a lot of clients process the trauma that's come up, the questions, the anger. One client was so angry when we got his brother's IDPF. His oldest brother died in the Battle of the Bulge. It's like, my dad left the family and he got to say what happened to his remains, and he got the insurance and he got the personal effects, and we have to process that. We have to explain why was that the case. And then I help him move through that. And that was only one example. There were some other things that came up for him and many other clients since then in the last 3 years. People are looking for this. So if you're a researcher, are you going there? Are you stepping into that vulnerable territory? Because people require it, and it's going to be required and needed so much more moving forward, because this year is changing everything. We also have something I've been thinking about a lot: commemoration, memorialization, remembering. How much does that sometimes keep that energy stuck that's really ready to go? And in what ways are we being selfish because we continue to repeat the same ceremony every single year? Do we need to change something? How would that change the healing that's needed on the planet right now? And then there are things like the emotions, the things we suppress. All of this stuff comes up in our life. And where was most of it triggered from? The military research I did on my family so I could write my books, Stories of the Lost, The Tiger's Widow, all the research books that came after, all the stories I've told in those books, all the stories that I've told as I lecture and when I facilitate. It started there primarily for me once I consciously stepped on that path to do healing for myself, my ancestors, and the collective. So my invitation to you today is to get your paper out, get your journal out, recording, your iPad, whatever's working for you, and take a look at just one area of your life. Is it the career you've chosen at this point in life? It could have been a past career. Is it your belief in something? Is it a relationship you've had? Is it a place you visited that created a lot of stuff that came up for you to look at? What are the themes in there? How have you worked to heal them? What is still coming up for you now? And what are you choosing to do with it? Are you choosing to stuff it back down and suppress it? Or are you choosing to allow it to come out? Look at it, even if it's dark and painful, which is not easy. But we are being called to do this year on so many levels. And the more we each step into this, the more we remember why we're here, the more we remember the power we have, because we are so powerful, way beyond what the media has dumbed us down to be. We're so powerful. We're capable of so much, and we're capable of healing everything if you believe it and you do the work. So I invite you to sit with that today and see what comes up for you. And then be aware of that as you move forward with the choices that you make. Because this awareness this morning really kind of unlocked something huge that I've been waiting for all year and has given me permission to go and do this thing I really want to do. So I'm going to sit with that more today and journal more and do some meditation on it and see where it goes. But finally, it's unlocked. So I hope that that gift also shows up for you. If you're interested in learning more about this, you can join my Genealogy Ancestral Lineage Healing Facebook group. And I do offer a lot of facilitation, one-on-one with clients, and different classes on my Finding the Answers Journey website. And my Ancestral Souls Healing Circle I've decided to push that until October. So if you're interested in a monthly training and support, that will be starting up in October. And got a lot of really good stuff happening in there. So thank you. If this resonates with you, please share it. Please like it if you are watching it on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or wherever you're seeing this. And please let me know how it resonates with you and what awareness showed up. Have a beautiful day. Bye.